Are we
Hey,
on?
Tim James.
Hey, Lee Strauss.
Oh my gosh. What the heck is going on in the chat right now? Somebody's talking about wearing women's clothes and driving super fast down the highway.
Yeah, and you know, the funny part of it is that that's information that I never thought I'd ever get, or I wanted to know. Oh my
Welcome to
goodness!
Friday.
Yeah. Everybody, welcome to Element 115.
Welcome, everybody. Oh my gosh. Well, you have lifted my spirits.
100%. You guys are awesome.
Yep. Definitely. Never thought I'd see that in chat, but there you
No.
go. Thank you,
Mm.
race fan. Anyway, we got some great stuff to get into tonight, guys. So hold on to your britches and women's clothing if you're wearing it.
Hold on to whatever you're wearing.
There it is, right there. Exactly. All right. So we're going to talk about the Olympic National Forest and what's deep inside there in the deep hollows, where it's so dark you can barely see a hand in front of your face. Well, at least at midday.
Yeah.
But there you go. And we're going to get into some UFO stuff with Tim James as well. So look forward to that. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the Olympic Forest, man. I'm all excited to hear the stories.
There we go. So we'll get into it tonight. But before we do that, let's go ahead and welcome everybody in. Who's in here tonight?
Well, let's see. There's Race Fan. He is in. He was in at I think 3:00 yesterday afternoon. Thanks for coming in, Race Fan. And we won't talk about what he was wearing. Anyway, thanks for coming in. We got Paramarv. How's it going, Paramarv? Good to see you. Frankie B. Good evening to you, sir. Who else have we got down here? Mel WD40, one of our favorite lubesters. The only lubester for Spaced Out Radio.
That's correct.
And again, Race Fan Paramar, where are we going? Bob Thornton, how you doing tonight, man? Thank you for stopping on in. Tim Mothman, he's trouble. Let me tell you, I got stories about Vegas with this dude. Way to go. Thanks for coming in, Tim. And let's see who else. Cosmic Joe Chronicles. Hey, buddy. Glad you could come in too. Good to see you. And where else we got? Road Flare. He's here as well. Hey, man. Good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. I'm glad that you did. And as we scroll on down, Marla Snyder. Hello, Marla. Good to see you. Thank you. And oh my God, there she is. Tarnation. What in tarnation? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. And I think we are getting close to the end. Oh, Lars Jansen.
Lars?
Yes. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. Good morning. I hope you get your coffee's nice and warm and you're nice and relaxed, and we can start your day off with a couple of laughs and some woo. And
there you go.
All right.
I think that
Cielo Azul. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Kurt W75. Yep, he's here too. And without further ado, I think we're scrolling down the list. I don't think I've missed anybody yet. And yeah, I think we're covered. Thanks everybody for coming in. And as the people show up, I'll message them and say hello and all that sort of good stuff. Back to you, sir.
Okay, let's roll the intro and then we'll get right back into it.
Oh dear Lord, it's these two ass clowns again. Well, now that you're here, you might as well sit down and get comfortable.
Welcome to the dimension of the unknown, where the imagination reigns supreme, crafting worlds and realities that defy the limitations of our mortal coil. Beyond the veil of reality, there exists a realm that defies the boundaries of human perception. Certain places beckon with an otherworldly allure, stirring the senses and whispering secrets of a dimension that lies just beyond the threshold of our mundane existence. The air is alive with an electric anticipation, as if the next step might unravel the very fabric of reality, plunging us into an abyss from which there is no return. This realm is a boundless expanse, as infinite as the cosmos and as timeless as the ages. It inhabits the twilight zones of existence, where the glow of knowledge and the shadows of ignorance entwine like lovers in a cosmic dance. Here, the rational and the mystical converge, suspended between the depths of human terror and the pinnacle of our understanding. Welcome to Element 115.
Well, here we are.
Once again.
Yep. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad that you showed up for us tonight, and we can get back into the normal swing of things. Yeah.
Agreed. It's good to be back. That's what I said to Dave the other night. Being away and then coming back to the shows, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm comfortable again.
Right. It's back into the groove, right? So why don't you give us a little breakdown? How was it down there in Vegas?
It was really, really good. Excuse me. Had a really good time. Got to meet some of the fans, and some of our mods came down. Got to go to Area 51. Yeah, just a good time all around. Good conversation. Got to meet and sit and have supper with a bunch of people that are in the chat room a lot of the time. And yeah, it was good all the way around. Had a fantastic time. Stayed up way too late some nights. And other than that, yeah, it was good. We missed the people that didn't show. That sucked.
Yeah.
That sucked. We missed you too, Lee.
Yeah, I didn't. I had something come up that I had to take care of.
Yeah, of course. No. Definitely.
And then, so from what I understand, everybody, we are doing this again next year in May, and it'll be around the same time frame at the very beginning of May. So just get that on your calendar now.
Yeah.
Right. You know, everybody from Spaced Out Radio will be there. I will be there. Tim will be. Everybody will be there, hopefully, and we can all get together and have a good time. So please put that on your calendar now. And let's get into some stuff that happened to me and the other guys in the Olympic National Forest.
Right on.
So I want to try to lay this out for you all, okay? Because I wanted to bring up some pictures and was having a hard time doing so. But you can find those on my Facebook page. You know, most of the pictures that we captured from there are there. But there was these huge boulders everywhere, just strewn across the landscape where we were at. Now, the trail in there is a normal trail. And then it leads off up the hill and it goes to another lake and this sort of thing. But I always had the feeling that when I went in there that I needed to take this right-hand turn where this trail had been covered up, basically. They laid logs down, they put brush in the way and all of this other stuff to deter you from going into this location. And I didn't know why. However, last time I was there, the previous time, I had gone over there and said I needed to get to the other side of the outlet of this lake. And I don't know what drew me there, but it felt like I needed to go over there. And so for months, guys, you probably heard me talk about it with Dave and mention it. Hey, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go out by myself. And it was just freaking me out for some reason. Like, you know, I used to go out hiking all the time by myself, but I waited and I procrastinated and I waited until two of my good buddies could go with me because I didn't feel secure going out there by myself. And I am so glad I waited because I'll tell you what happened. So, yeah.
Full disclosure before you say, I have not heard a word of this. So
Right.
I'm in the dark as much as everybody else is. So
Yeah. The cat is only partially out of the bag right now. So what happened to us is we got into this area. There was some fallen logs and this and that we had to climb over because there's no trail back in there. We're trying to just get farther in as, away from the main trail as that we could, because we didn't want to have people around us or know where we were, at back in there. And we came across this boulder field. Okay. These boulders were huge. Some of them were gigantic, like the size of 4-story buildings. They were just these massive boulders. And it turns out there's all these caves that go down underneath and around these boulders. We were in one of these caves, and this isn't a type of cave that you have to squat down to get it. You walk right in.
Oh, wow.
Okay. It's like you go down this thing, and then this rock face, and then you go underneath this other giant boulder. I mean, and these areas in here are everywhere. And I'm trying to think, what the heck caused this place to be this way? What happened?
Yeah.
And I was speculating at the time that maybe part of the mountain had collapsed and all of these boulders had rolled down there. But I'm going to tell you what, there was at least 3 inches of moss covering these boulders. So they have been there for quite a long time. Not only that, there was old growth trees all over the place, cedars and you name it. It was like all these old growth trees, and some of them were so gnarly and growing up between these big boulders. And it was like a fantasy landscape, almost like something out of Avatar.
That's cool.
It was bizarre. There was all these like tree roots and stuff that were growing up and then onto the tops of these rocks that were supporting trees on top of these rocks even. And it was crazy to think, okay, so how did that happen, right? A tree must have fell and landed on the rock. And then the roots grew up this tree, and the tree rotted away, but left all of these, roots growing up to the side of this rock, and then a tree would sprout up from that. It was insane. I cannot tell you that place. Have you ever seen the movie Legend?
Yes, a number of times.
Yes. Well, I'm going to tell you, that was like the place. I mean, you walk in there and you felt like there might be fairies and all kinds of mischievous animals, creatures, and leprechauns, and I'm telling you, just all of that, So we're walking in there, we get our camp set up, and so we decide we're going to hike around, and check out the place just in the immediate area. We're not going to go too far because it takes a long time to navigate through an area like this. We noticed right away we were starting to pothole, and what I mean by that is the moss would be covering some rocks, some boulders, and you'd step and your foot would go through it. And then you'd pass your knee in a hole. So that was happening quite often. So we had to really pay attention to what we're doing. And we get through to an area where it looked like there might have been somebody camping there at one time. We saw some bottles, like some alcohol bottles. There was 2 like fifths that were empty and a couple beer bottles. And when I saw that, my heart just sunk, and it felt really kind of bad in that location, almost like somebody may have gone there to check out, so to speak.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that was kind of an odd situation. So we kept going back up, and then eventually maybe like a half mile through this maze of rocks and moss and trees, up, back, and around. And we got back to camp maybe an hour and a half later or whatever. And so this field is so large, there's no way you can investigate everything. It's almost like 3 levels, where if you're on top of the rocks, you're up here. And then if you're on kind of around the rocks, you're right here. And then there's that subterranean type of level, down underneath the rocks. So it's really hard to explore everything. right?
Sure.
And you can't, once you're in there, you can't see much of anything else. So we got back camp. And I was setting up some of my equipment, my audio recorder, and I have a 360 trail camera and some different things, making sure I've got all my stuff laid out in case I need it in this place. I'm going to tell you right now, I would never go in there alone.
No way.
Never. There's no way ever that I would ever go into this location alone after being in there. No. Mm-mm. It just felt way too weird, way too off. It felt like you had eyes on you the whole time.
Yep.
When you're in there. And you couldn't see, right? So I'm setting up my equipment,
right,
making sure I've got everything laid out. And I'm messing with the 360 trail camera, trying to get it to, clock in with my phone so that, everything's working great. Yeah. So you get in there and setting that up. And then the first thing I noticed, guys, was this orb. It looked like a shadow, but it wasn't a shadow because this was white.
Oh.
So you could see through it, but it wasn't solid. And it was more like a shadow where you could see through the darn thing. And it was just floating through the air, right in front of me. And then it goes boom, right into a rock.
Wow.
I'm like, did I just see what I think I saw? I have no idea, but I've never experienced an orb like that.
What was it like?
Small ones.
Was it in the daylight, or was this
it was in the daytime?
No.
Yeah, so it was about this big around, and I just saw it out of my peripheral, and then I started to track it once I saw it out of my peripheral, and it went straight into a rock, and I was like, "What the heck did I just see?" That's pretty bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Questioning myself, questioning what I saw. Is there a shadow I'm looking? What are the guys doing behind me? Are they, with watches? Are they doing anything that's reflecting any kind of sun or any of that? But I didn't see anything like that. And the way it was, that wouldn't explain anything because it's not like it was shining off a rock. It was in midair.
Wow.
It was in midair, right? So that didn't make sense to me. I don't know where to place that because I've never witnessed it. Anyway, so getting things set up. It's getting dark. We're going to cook dinner now. Got my little stove out and my backpacking stove, and we got our hammocks up. And
nice.
Alex didn't bring a hammock. He actually brought a tent. There's no place to set up a tent in here.
I was just going to say that. It sucks. Find something level.
Right. And the first thing I'm thinking when I, setting up my hammock and Andrew as well is like, man, I don't want to wake up and have anything staring at me. There's no way, you know what I mean? So we're going to go ahead and put up the tarp, over the hammock to make sure that we don't wake up and are staring at something we don't want to be staring at.
I know that feeling, man. I totally get it.
Yeah. And so poor Alex, of course, is going to have to go to sleep, and he doesn't have anything, other than a sleeping mattress and a sleeping bag.
Careful, that moss is slippery.
And I'm like, man, I'm glad that's not me tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were sitting there. We made a little campfire, a little fire, and cooking food and doing that and whatever. And then I noticed off to my left that there's something over there, like a flashlight. And I'm like, wait a minute now. Okay, there's people across the lake over here.
Sure.
You can kind of hear them off in the distance, and that's where the camping is for that lake, is over there. Where we are, no, there's supposed to be nobody over here. And so I'm watching this off to my left. I'm watching this light, and I have to keep moving like this to see it because it seems like it's almost dodging my view of it.
Oh, okay.
And which is kind of odd. It almost looks like it's right on the edge of the lake. Like, is it in the water? Is it on the lake? What's going on? It's probably a good 4 miles in switchbacks or 3 miles in switchbacks and that sort of thing to get up there. Mm-hmm. And there would be, if somebody was on the water,
Right.
in some sort of a, not a kayak, maybe some sort of a kayak, maybe the fold up kind or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Why would they be on that opposite side of the lake from where they are?
Mhm.
And why does it seem to be dodging us when we're trying to view it?
Yeah.
Right? Every time we get a lock on where it is, then it disappears and it moves somewhere else. And we're like, oh, what the heck? So I'm thinking in my mind, is this something similar to like the Brown Mountain lights? Is
Oh.
it some sort of phenomena that's going on out there in
Hmm.
this area, in this, we'll call it the rock garden, because I don't know what else to call it.
Right.
Um, but it was a super intriguing area. So I go to sleep, Andrew goes to sleep, and then Alex decides he's not going to sleep. He's going to stay up all night.
I'm gonna be the brave guy. No, it's not because you're
Yeah,
gonna fall.
he's not going to sleep. He's going to stay up all night. Screw that. He
Huh?
doesn't have anything to cover himself
That-
with. So
exactly. You stay up all night then.
yeah, so he stoked the fire and stayed up all night, which I
Okay.
understand.
Yeah.
But the next morning, Alex and I, we were both up at the same time. Andrew is still asleep. This is typical for Andrew. He's one of my good buddies, but he likes to sleep in. So Alex and I take a walk back to where this looks like there might be a clearing or whatever, and we're going to check out this clearing while Andrew's still asleep. And we get in there, and the area is rather less sparse with trees, but still you get some serious rock piles back in there. It doesn't look like the trees have had a chance to roost or nest or grow in that spot. It seems like the trees are kind of void of that one rock pile for some reason.
Mhm.
Still moss all over everything,
Sure.
but the trees haven't grown in there. And we were taking some pictures and looking around and saying, man, there's more caves over here. There's caves all over the darn place. We start to come back, and I start watching the ground as we're coming back. I'm like, wait a minute. What is that?
Dun, dun, dun.
That looks like a foot.
Oh,
Sure enough, it's a Bigfoot footprint.
nice.
Much bigger. Yeah, so we're talking like this. I was going to try to pull up the pictures, but it's about this big. So somewhere around an 18 size shoe.
Holy mac.
Yeah, so it's a good size footprint. And it was headed in the direction where our camp was.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's where it was stepping towards. Now, mind you, we didn't notice it on the way out there, but on the way back, we did notice it. I don't know why. It's just something we must have stepped over, most likely. But the other thing that we heard was a bird. Now, it's like this normal chirpy chirp chirp with the bird, right?
Mhm.
But then at the end of what the bird normally does, it added something extra.
No.
So I would say possibly mimicry, right?
Huh?
And then adding something in a little extra that's not normal to let us know that they're around.
That's cool. That's cool. So I did see that photo of the footprint. And
Okay.
yeah, because you did have it up on Facebook.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did see that. And just like, I'm not trying to step on your story here, but for anybody that hasn't been into the Pacific Northwest where Lee lives, and I'm north of him in Canada, but I was born and raised in southern British Columbia, and that whole rainforest and that whole area like Lee's describing runs all the way up the basically, I guess, from above Long Beach, I guess, in Washington. It runs all up through Vancouver Island, comes across part of the southern part of British Columbia, and then up through I guess kind of the western part of British Columbia. And if you have never been into those places, and when Lee's describing it, I can understand it, because it's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't think the rocks are that big, but the moss, the ferns, those old growth cedars. Yeah, it's a very enchanting place. But like
Mhm.
Lee said, when you're looking around, sometimes you feel like you're being watched, and I'm sure that you are in some of these parts of the forest because, like I say, if you've never seen it, look it up or go. Come on up and have a vacation in the Pacific Northwest and see what those forests are like. I guarantee you'd be like, okay, I get it now. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, there have been plenty of places I've been where I don't mind, and I could name them off, where I
sure.
wouldn't mind going hiking and spending the night, but that
Yeah,
place is not one of them.
yeah.
Never.
Uh-uh.
Never. No. So yeah, there's that. It just felt different. It felt off,
Mhm.
not in a bad way, but in a very mysterious, kind of magical way.
Okay.
Like you don't know what can come up out of the ground at you. Like that,
Yeah.
it's just it's bizarre that way.
Mhm.
It's just it's different. It feels different.
So,
But
basically, when you were in there, though, you weren't, how would you put it? You were obviously being very cautious and stuff, but you said did it was it wasn't an evil feeling, it just an uneasy, disturbing feeling like the energy was kinda off in that spot, or what do you think? Like, I'm just
yeah,
curious.
there was like a lot of we were very interested in the area because I've never
Of
been
course.
in a place like that before.
No, for
It
sure.
was more probably one of the most beautifully haunting locations I've
Ah,
ever been.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what did you guys just do like you just did an overnight, or did you spend a couple nights out there and your buddy sat on a
Uh,
rock for 40 hours?
well, just one night, unfortunately, unless I really plan stuff out, I can only do like one night,
Yeah,
you know.
understood.
Got this
Understood.
show on Friday and then Saturday is my night to go play. So,
That's awesome. So what are we doing this weekend?
well, this weekend is Mother's Day.
That's right.
So, I am taking my mother out. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're just going out and enjoying the bush, or is she
She went
interested in Bigfoot research and stuff like you and UFO stuff, or is she just like being out there?
She likes going in the woods, but she doesn't want to hike too far at
No,
all, and she just wants to go sit by a river or a lake somewhere and that sort of thing.
and
So,
just ground out. Nice.
yeah. So we're gonna do that for her for sure.
Man, that sounded pretty good. So, I mean, is that it? Like, was there anything else that happened? Did you like? I know you got the pictures of it. Have you like? Do you cast, or do you carry stuff to cast the prints
Not
at
when
all?
I backpack. I
Yeah,
don't
okay, I guess so.
carry anything.
It's only
But
plaster. Come on.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's Procal
Hmm.
uh, that I carry, but it's in my truck, and I don't carry stuff when I'm backpacking. I've already got camera equipment and this and that.
Yeah.
And last weekend when we went out to another location,
Hmm.
I carry this Sony camera with these two monster lenses, and
Uh,
that's a lot of weight.
it's
So
amazing.
I I try not to element 115 question mark.
That's us.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we call the show, Element 115. But
Hey,
anyway,
carried over.
so yeah, that for that trip, that was it. And
Hmm.
the one that we did last weekend, not many things happened. We didn't really see too much. But it was another time where I felt like I was being called into a location.
Sure, sure.
And sometimes I feel that you could bring the wrong energy into a spot with
Okay.
you, and those things that you might have seen or had happen,
Hmm.
bringing the wrong energy in can kind of dilute that, or make the things that might have happened not happen at all.
Yeah, yeah, for
And,
sure.
and I do worry about that, since my two good buddies, they mean well, but I think they've got a little bit too much of a party
Oh, yes.
type mindset, and I'm in there trying to, kind of,
Yeah, I get it. I
yeah,
get it.
yeah.
The backpacks were a lot lighter when they had hiked out.
Oh yeah, of course. Right, right. So it's just it's not. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault
No,
or
no.
whatever the case may be. It's just, I think, going into a location with the proper energy and the proper thought and the
Mhm.
proper, preparing yourself properly is important,
Yeah.
right?
I
You kind of have
100%.
to, yeah. It's like you kind of have to set your intention prior to going into a location, and
Mhm.
gearing your mind towards that,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and the proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, I'm an avid outdoors guy and I'm a hunter, and a lot of us are up here where I live. But the thing is you're right. Preparing for hunting for me is the same way. I'm going in and I'm looking for a certain type of animal to harvest or whatever. And you go in with that mindset and you prepare yourself. And 9 times out of 10, I'm successful, not because I'm skilled, don't but not like I'm some super hunter, but just like you say, getting your mind in the right uh, tone, setting your pace. And it's funny because even sometimes when I'll get out of the truck and I park and I get geared up, I sit and I just slow my heartbeat down,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's there's a kind of a ritual to it, and the same as if you're going out Sasquatch, I hate using the word hunting, Sasquatch
Yeah, yeah.
adventuring, you're going out to explore and see if you can see anything. Same thing, and sky watching, put yourself in the right mind frame and the whole 9 yards, and I think that's a big part of it. A lot of people
Right.
don't. That's a good point because a lot of people don't think about that. I don't. I would probably say I'm pretty safe in saying anyway.
Yeah, yeah. It's and when you have a group of friends that you go out with, right? I mean, your attention is going to be drawn to whatever they've got going on and what they're doing,
Yep.
and because you don't want to miss out on the fun either, right?
No,
So
no. No, you got to have it, but it's got to be a balance.
right, right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It does have to be a balance. You can have like fun during the day, but there's got to be a time for the meditation and the work that has
Of
to be done,
course.
especially if you expect to capture any phenomena. You
Hmm.
just have to kind of sit there and just be, you know?
Yep. I totally get it. I totally
Yeah.
get it. And I mean, it's like the Bigfoot spot that we go to up here. There's the one that's got the really bad vibes, and there's the one that we go to up here that has got that super inviting, curious, like you don't feel threatened going in. You know something's going on, but yeah, and we sit around and we just nice and quiet, and yeah, it seems to bring things around to
Mhm.
life. May not be able to see it, but you sure can feel it. That's what I've noticed. You can definitely feel it.
And that's what I'm looking for too. When I'm
Hmm.
out there, is I'm looking for that feeling,
Sure.
right? Because that's the first clue that something's around, is when you're out
Mhm.
there and you start to get that feeling. There's
Yep.
something that's got their eyes on you.
Yep. Trust your gut in the bush always. It's such a cliche and it's such an old saying, but when you're out there in, in any situation, hunting, hiking, adventuring, looking for Sasquatch, out viewing the stars at night, is if you feel uncomfortable, if you think there's something, if you got the heebie-jeebies, don't try to be a hero. Your gut's trying to tell you something because those feelings
Yep.
are that's the energy going knock, knock, knock. You know,
Yeah.
it might be time for you to leave.
Exactly. Exactly. So Shall we bring up Mr. Lou Elizondo?
Sure. Let's bring up Lou. That's right. Lou's clues. Right? We never know what's
Okay,
going on.
so let me just say on my end of things what I have
Yeah.
heard.
Okay, go for it.
And I could be completely off the rails here on this whole thing, but I hear that he put forth a photo. Okay. And this photo seemed to be cropped, and something very important was cropped out of the photo.
Mm. Mm.
Is that kind of what is
Dad,
true?
yeah, I think there's some different takes on it. So anybody, he was in front of a bunch of important people down in Washington, and he pulled a Lou, and displayed a photo, not the chandelier reflecting in the window photo, but another one. And what it looked like is the original photo and then the enhanced photo. So the original photo looks like there's a huge orb, or I shouldn't say an orb. It looks like a black or a disc above a field, and then it looks like there's a shadow of it on the ground. But when in about 4 hours after he released the photo, everybody, of course, gets their detective eyes on and starts doing their homework. And the photo was, I could say, allegedly. I think that they've proven it, but I haven't read that or seen that. All I know is when they debunked it, it's pretty hard to deny. It's those irrigation circles that are in the farmers' fields. Like, so when you've ever been flying over in a plane and you go over the prairies or wherever the heck you're going,
Oh,
and you look down and
yeah.
you see those big circles?
Yes.
Yeah, irrigation circles, I think, is what they called it. So it was like, oh, not again.
Uh-huh. So,
Mhm.
in your best guess, what do you think the purpose of him releasing a photo like that would be?
My best guess is, geez, like I said, okay. I like Lou. I don't have a problem so much with Lou. He's not out there. He's not an egomaniac, and he always seems to handle himself with decorum and professionalism. So I respect that in the man. But what I'm seeing now is this person that is supposed to be, as Dave put it the other night, the not the end all be all, but the key figure in this, the key instigator outside of David Grush pushing things forward. And he keeps tripping over his feet, and it's like, uh, are we serious here, or are the people that are working with you not paying attention? I can't say. I don't know. I have my own feelings about it, but I think I'm I'm starting to, well, I think a lot of people are starting to doubt the integrity of Mr. Elizondo, although there's a lot of people that already figured this out, or thought that he wasn't completely forthcoming with what was going on to begin with. So I'm
Mhm.
starting to sway. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. So what I did is I went through and I kind of went, put some stuff together. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to go through a little bit of an article here that I put together.
Sure.
So what I did is you know, my question was, is Lou Elizondo a UFO whistleblower or a U.S. government disinformation agent? There's a lot of people that are split down the middle and believe both, one or the other. So, like I said, in the murky world of the UFOs, now rebranded UAP, obviously, few figures are as polarized as Lou Elizondo, a former Pentagon insider who claims to have led the secretive ATIP. Elizondo has positioned himself as a whistleblower, exposing alleged government knowledge of extraterrestrial technology. His 2024 memoir, Imminent, and high-profile media appearances have fueled public fascination, yet skepticism abounds. Critics, including some in the UFO community, argue that Lou Elizondo may be a disinformation agent, sowing confusion under the guise of disclosure. Two recent photo debacles that we were just speaking of, both involving alleged UFO images he presented, have intensified these suspicions, raising questions about his credibility and motives. So, diving into it, let the intrigue, unpack the evidence, and we're going to explore some of the possibilities that Elizondo's actions serve a larger agenda. So, Elizondo's credentials, pretty impressive on paper. Former U.S. Army counterintelligence officer with a career in covert operations. He claims to have spearheaded ATIP, a Pentagon program investigating UAPs, UFOs, until his resignation in 2017. He cited bureaucratic resistance to UAP transparency as his reason for going public, a move that culminated in the 2017 New York Times expose revealing ATIP's existence. So, I'm just going to stop for a second there. That's where I kind of go, okay, did he really, a lot of people that I spoke to on the weekend were also saying, did he really remove himself from that situation? Or is this part of the ruse? So since then, Elizondo has become a staple in the UFO circles, appearing on podcasts like Joe Rogan's, testifying before Congress, and releasing his memoir, which alleges the U.S. possesses exotic materials of non-human origin. But his background in counterintelligence, a field rooted in deception and perception management, has raised red flags. Many social media posts have long speculated about his true role, with some users citing a 2023 claim where Elizondo allegedly admitted the Pentagon tasked him with applying counterintelligence tactics to the UFO community, including his using sock puppet accounts to engage believers and attack skeptics. While unverified, this aligns with the skill set of someone who's trained to manipulate narratives. So, prompting questions: is Elizondo exposing truths or curating a carefully controlled story? Don't know. I'm going to stop it for a second. What do you think? Do you think what's your take on Elizondo, Lee?
Well, he wrote a book. He did a lot of different things, right?
Sure.
He's been kind of forefront in this for the last, I would say, probably almost 5 years now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With this whole disclosure thing.
Yeah.
What if he's tired?
Again, benefit of the doubt. This is just, like I say, this has got nothing. I'm not force feeding anybody anything. It's just a different side of the coin, right? But
Yeah,
I said that on the last one. I know that I think we talked about it, you and I and Dave and Rob, I think, in just back and forth in private when we were having a meeting or something. And I think that was pretty sure that was one of my things, right? I wonder if he's just wiped out. Giving him the benefit of the doubt. I wonder if he's just burnt out from it all and he's just like going through the motions. But yeah.
So my thought is, if he is wiped out, maybe he doesn't want to continue this, and he's going, releases this fudged photo, just to kind of take him away. I mean, you know what I mean? Who out there is going to be calling Lou, and saying, "Hey, I want you on my show," right?
Yeah.
If he's putting out fake information.
Yep.
This would be a good way for him to kind of just
bow
out.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point. That's a very good point. And I mean, talking and listening was to Science Bob, that I think everybody knows from the shows and stuff like that. Even Science Bob had said, like Bob knows a lot more than we do about these people because he's in that loop of kind of top secret and that sort of thing. But even Bob, I think, if I recall, and I don't want to misquote him, and said, look, the guy went from living in this beautiful house and all this sort of stuff to living in the middle of nowhere in a single wide trailer inside of a barn. And he's got, with him and his family, and he's got like 6 dogs that patrol his property to keep the freaks away. So, it's like, I have nothing to base at that. Yeah, he's totally faking or he's not. But the perception that's out there is just like, I don't know. you might be right. This may be, it's like getting out of work with your wife, right? It's like if you start messing it up, I'll just leave it and I'll take care of it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, to carry on with it, there was at a private UFO event in Philadelphia in October of 2024 that I think most of us recall. Elizondo showcased a photo of an alleged mothership captured in Romania in 2022, describing it as a huge mini city floating in the sky near the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest. And this hence where Dave got his T-shirt, made one of his T-shirts. The image sparked immediate excitement until skeptics intervened. Online investigators, including UFO journalist Stephen Greenstreet, debunked the photo as the as a chandelier's reflection on a window, with the background revealing the aired power station 400 miles from Bucharest. Elizondo backtracked, admitting the photo was likely fake and blaming a friend in the government, in quotes, who had provided it. Critics pounced. Veteran UFO researcher Jeremy McGowan, who previously accused Elizondo of passing off a public Soviet video as a top secret UFO clip, called this part of a pattern, which I think a lot of us are starting to see. So on social media platforms, users like Middle of Mayhem labeled the incident a deliberate attempt to mislead, noting Elizondo's choice to present an unverified image at a paid event. The question lingers: how could seasoned intelligence officer fail to vet such a high stakes claim? So debacle number 2, the 1,000-foot southwestern UFO. This was from last week. So Elizondo presented another bombshell during a House Oversight and Accountability Committee meeting, a photo of a supposed 1,000-foot wide disc-shaped object hovering over the American Southwest, allegedly taken by a private pilot. The image went viral, igniting debates about its authenticity. Within hours, Reddit users and social media sleuths debunked it, pointing out digital artifacts suggesting manipulation and inconsistencies in the landscape. Elizondo defended himself once again, claiming he received the photo that morning and emphasized it was unvetted. This admission only deepened skepticism. Multiple social media users challenged his claim of a pilot's involvement, alleging no such source existed. Others accused him of lying to Congress and American people, arguing that his choice to present unverified evidence in a formal setting was reckless at best and deceptive at worst. And so what you said, Lee, that again just kind of falls right into that narrative or that assumption that you're making. So it does make sense. So these photo fumbles have galvanized critics who see Elizondo as a government plant. The disinformation theory alleges that he's part of a broader U.S. strategy to control the UAP narrative, either to distract from classified technology or to shape public perception for geopolitical ends. Several threads support this hypothesis. So Elizondo's career manipulating information makes him an ideal candidate for disinformation. His alleged admission of using soft puppet accounts, again, to influence UFO discourse suggests a willingness to deceive, even if it's for strategic reasons. Excuse me. The photo debacles aren't isolated. McGowan's 2021 account of Elizondo misrepresenting a Soviet video, again, combined with Romania and Southwestern incidents, suggest either chronicled sloppiness or intentional misdirection. So I think I could beat this to death and go on with it, but I think you know where we're going. Without repeating ourselves, there's some food for thought. Again, I have no basis to say any of this is true. All this was a lot of me doing some research and going, So take it with a grain of salt. Believe what you want. Don't believe what you want. There's no factual evidence in my report whatsoever. It's all alleged, my take on it.
Well, here's the other thing that kind of gets the gears turning in my head. Okay. Is we have a lot of people coming out right now.
Yeah.
government insiders that are popping off. It seems like there's a new one almost every week.
Right.
And they're talking to Jeremy Corbell. They're talking to all of these other people. And of course, then it seems like they're pulled in, to these hearings, right?
Yep.
But it seems like there's a new one every week. And so that being the case, I'm wondering if they didn't put Lou out there, go out and kind of muddy the waters a little bit real quick, because we don't need everybody or anybody to believe all these other stories that are now coming out.
Right. And the other thing is, and the other quote that I mentioned the other night in a conversation was that his statement, and I've heard him say it a few times, is that his mission isn't over. And I mean, you could read whatever you want into it. I'm not, again, just saying, is it his mission to, push the UFO stuff forward and disclosure and all that stuff? Or is it a tongue-in-cheek, perceiving that that's what he's trying to do, but his mission isn't over because this is, he's playing kind of hide and seek, and where's a shell game? Where's the ball under the coconut, right? So I'm not sure.
Well, it sounds like there's another hearing coming up too.
Yeah.
Which seems like they're coming more faster and faster and faster. It almost seems like we're getting somewhere right now, but of course, everybody's hopes are getting so high at the moment. I'm hoping it's not, for naught.
Well, and I think, I mean, everybody hopes that in all honesty. And I think that's, everybody's wishes that one of these hearings is going to actually move something substantially. And again, another conversation I had with some other people is, here we go again. We've got the same, and this whistleblower and thing is kind of, they're not whistleblowers, they're witnesses, right? Snowden was a whistleblower where they wanted to unalive him. These other people, we've kind of taken a different look at it, but these whistleblowers, these witnesses, I'm kind of, it's the same people. It's the same thing. But the only difference is now they're going to go in behind closed doors. Now, my take on it is this gives you the perception that, they're going in to talk about something super secret. Maybe they are. Do you think they're going to come back out and tell us what they heard? I haven't. I would very, very, very highly doubt it, because if that was the case, why do it behind closed doors?
Exactly. That is, for all we know, they could be going behind closed doors to figure out how to keep going with this shell game, right?
You're right.
How to prolong this thing as long as they possibly can. We don't know what their agenda is, but suppose there is that agenda, right? And that's what it seems like. It seems like you get these little bits and pieces, but they're still moving the ball around, and nobody has an idea where it's at exactly.
Well, no, exactly. And if you look at this Anna Paulina Luna and this disclosure committee and the secrets committee, they've got 6 months to do this, right? They were given 6 months to handle all these tasks. And again, my take on it, they cherry picked. Okay, let's get the Kennedy stuff out. Let's get an Epstein list out. They cherry pick some of the easy stuff because it's easier. The UFO stuff, in my opinion, I don't even know if they'd be able to extend the committee. They were given a 6-month lifespan. Who knows? But why didn't they jump on that one first? I'm just curious. Like JFK, I completely understand. All respect to the American folks in the audience. I get it. There's a lot of unanswered questions. But okay, so let's get JFK and let's get down to the UFOs, not to belittle Robert Kennedy Jr., not to belittle Martin Luther King. But why did we? Who cares? I'm just saying, sorry. Who cares about the Epstein list? I could give 2 rats poops. I really could, right? I don't care. I want to know about the UFO stuff, but that's just me.
Well, that's the business we're in.
That's
you know.
right.
So
So we want to know.
that's correct. Not only do we want to know, but we wanted to bring any information that we can out to you guys as well.
Of course. Of course. And
And then
it'll
vice
be
versa.
interesting. Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. And I'm not trying to, put my foot on anybody's cake here. All I'm saying, I really don't skeptically. I'm not thinking that there's going to be anything fantastic coming out of this. I hope I'm wrong, and you guys can all laugh at me and go, Mr. Skeptic. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm tired of showing up for the movie and it being sold out every time I show up, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah, it does sour people. I do get
mhm,
that. I do understand that. And it's funny because I'm tired of it myself, just like
mhm.
most of everybody else is. So I'll go about my business and I'll be doing my own thing and scheduling my outings and all of this. And then I'll come back and I'll hear a little blurb about this or that and the other thing. One of those blurbs that I heard recently was there was somebody that came out that said that there was a scientist.
Oh,
That there
Eric
was
Davis.
Yeah. So there was
Yeah,
4 different types of ETs
yeah,
that
and I
they
think
know of.
yeah. So he came and he said, what was it? The Greys. I don't know. Of course, everything wants to update now.
Was the Nordics, the
Oh my goodness.
lizard,
Yeah, reptilian,
the reptilians,
and I
and
can't
then
remember what the fourth one is.
was it the mantis looking?
It could be. I'm not going to say for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I had it in my notes. No, I can't find it. But yeah. So yeah, he dropped that bombshell as well. So it's like, okay,
So
interesting.
do you know who Eric Davis works directly for? What agency?
No, not off the top of my head. I do
Uh,
not.
uh,
And unfortunately, I'm not. That's why I have notes for everything because my
right.
memory is so terrible. It's like
Yeah,
scrambling.
yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. My mind doesn't hold on to things very, very long unless I'm truly intrigued with
Yeah,
it.
exactly, exactly. So,
Exactly. So, everybody's heard of those types of ETs before, right? So
mhm.
it's not a real surprise that somebody mentioned it. However, it's a surprise that it came from somebody, from the inside,
Yes,
right?
for sure.
So is this just another sort of ruse or what is this?
Yeah, no, and it's a good question, and that's that again. I wish I could answer that. I really do, and I'm sure that a lot of people wish they could answer it, but it this is where it boils down to where we have to not just believe what we see and do a little bit of research and well, sometimes a lot of research and don't bite every hook that's in the water, right? And the problem with this is it, the social media and all this sort of stuff.
Mhm.
You never know. You never know who's giving you the bill of goods and who's actually being straight. But there are some people out there you can follow on X or whatever social media you like that are pretty straight up and they're solid and good reputations. But people have to do research. You can't just,
Yeah.
it's not just a mailed in sort of thing. So, you know, who knows?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, once you have somebody say something, right?
Mhm,
So you take
mhm.
that with a grain of salt, then you have to do your research, right? And then
That's
you
right.
have to decipher the research and believe what you want to believe or believe what's true for you,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
And so that's the important thing, and that it could be true for you, and you're good with that, but somebody
Yep.
else might have got the exact same information and believe it's hogwash.
That's right. That's right. Keep an open mind. Be
Mhm.
diligent in your research, and I hate to sound like an old man, but don't be that person that just like, oh, I don't want to do the research, so I'm going to hang my hat on it.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor and do it and educate yourself and come see us because we try to do that as best we can here.
Mhm. Yep. Anyway, guys, we've come to the end of our show.
Oh,
So I have had a blast with Tim. I'm glad he's back and in the hot seat.
Yeah, me too.
So anyway, we'll have a great show for you next weekend.
Absolutely.
And Dave Scott's up next. I will be on for the cryptid report later tonight. So look forward to that. And everybody have a safe, wonderful weekend and a safe week. And we'll see you back here.
Good night,
next
everybody.
week on Element 115 and Spaced Out Radio. All right. Goodbye, everybody.